Hi, this is Lindsay the Crafty Blonde and I'm here today with my 5 cards 1 kit video using the new May kit from Crafty Ola Store, Thankful. So to start with, I've taken all the A4 pieces of card that were in the kit and I've cut them down in half lengthways, so that's 10.5 centimetres, and then scored and folded them all in half to give me some C6 size cards. So for my first card, I've taken the pink sort of geometric patterned paper and I'm cutting that down to 13.5 centimetres tall by 9.5 centimetres wide. Then I've taken the blue pearlescent card and I'm cutting that down so it's 10 centimetres wide by 14 centimetres tall. And I'm just checking all that there for size, making sure it fits on my card blank nicely. Then I've just taken some of the shapes from the pack and I'm just laying those there on my card, so I've decided where I want them. Then I've decided underneath the everyday I wanted a little sentiment, so I've chosen the I appreciate you. I think that sounds quite nice. So what I've done is I'm just popping everything in my stamping flat form just so I can get it all nice and exactly where I want it. I'm just lining that up there and then I'm just going to secure that to the lid of my platform, ink it up and stamp it. Then it didn't just take quite on the end, so I've re-inked that up and stamped it again, and that's the great thing about having these stamping platforms. So I'm just gluing it all together there, just sticking it onto my card blank with my collal glue. And then I've taken the shapes again, so this time I know where I want them, so it's just a case of adding all the foam pads on the back and popping those there onto the front of the card. So when I've done that, I decided I was going to use the little pearl drops and just create a few little pearls here and there. But to be honest with you, I wasn't very good with it, so actually you'll see on the card that I did in the end, I actually scraped those off and just added a few pearls on instead. So for my second card, I've taken the same pearlescent card from before, and again I'm cutting that down to the same measurements, so that's going to be 10 centimetres by 14 centimetres. And then I'm taking the pretty floral paper and I'm going to cut that down to, I think it's 8 centimetres, yeah, 8 centimetres, and that will be 13.5 tall. What I wanted to do with this was sort of layer it up, so I've taken the remaining bit of the pink paper and I've just cut that down, I think it's about 4 centimetres wide, and again just checking that it's a 13.5 there, and I'm going to layer those up on the front of that pearlescent card. So I've got a bit of the pink showing on the left hand side and obviously the floral paper's covering the rest, and then just to cover the join I've taken one of the what do you call them, the peel off stickers, the straight peel off stickers, and I'm just placing that along the where it meets just to give it a nice sort of edge on there. I'm just trimming that to size there, excuse my head. So what I've done now is I've taken the Big Shot machine and I'm going to cut out a circle out of white card, and then the thanks die. What I've done is I've cut that out of black card and I've cut it out 3 times as I wanted to sort of glue that together and build it up, so I've got a nice thick sentiment, so it's a bit more sort of like a thick card, thin chipboard kind of thing. So I'm just layering those up there. It's a bit fiddly, so I'm just using my pokey tool to sort of move things about so I can get them all lined up nice and neatly. again, excuse my head in the way. So I'm just going to layer everything up on the card now, adding some foam pads on the back of that circle, just to give it a bit of depth and dimension. So I'm just popping that so it overlaps the sort of the two pieces of paper, and then I'm just sort of having a play around and deciding where I want things. And then again using the foam pads to pop the flowers on, and I think I'll stick the thanks on with some glue. Oh no, so before that I'm sticking the panel onto the card blank, and now I'm going to stick the thanks on. And yeah, I've just taken some glue, and because it's quite thin, I've put some glue on a piece of card, and I'm just adding it to the back of my sentiment with the tip of my pokey tool, just so I can get it on there without it sort of splodging over the sides too much. And then I'm just having a look at what sort of stickers are on the puffy sheet. So I've decided on the little heart just above the thanks. And then to finish off, I'm just adding a few gems here and there, because by that time I'd give up on the pearl drops because I just wasn't getting on with them. They're not for me really. And that's my second card. So for my third card, I'm taking the blue, sort of turquoisey blue geometric pattern, and again all the sort of papers are pretty much the same size. So I've cut that down to 9.5 by 13.5, and then I'm going to mat that onto the shiny pink pearlescent. So that's going to be cut to 10 by 14. So just layering that up there with the glue. And then this time I've stuck it onto the front of a cream card blank. So what I've decided I'm going to do with this one is make a shaker card. So I've just added some strong red tape to the back of one of the frames, and I'm cut out a piece of acetate just to size, and I'm sticking that onto the back of the frame. Then I've taken some of the sort of white holographic dotty paper, and I've just cut that to the same size as well, because that's what I'm going to back the frame with. And I'm just cutting down some foam pads so they're quite thin, and I'm going to put a double layer of those around the frame. And then I've got just a little anti-static pad there that I've just rubbed round just to hopefully stop the sequin sticking to the pads. And then I've got some little sequin mixes available in store, and I've just taken the yellows, the sort of pearlescent, and the sort of lilac-y purples, and I've put a mixture of each of those within the frame, removing the back of the tape off the foam pads, and I'm just sticking that piece of dotty paper there on the back just to secure everything in. And I just cut it a little bit too big, so I'm just trimming that down with my scissors. And now I'm just deciding where I want things placed on the card. And I've decided on this one I sort of want the card opening the other way, so I've got a landscape card rather than a portrait card. Adding that frame there, and then I've taken one of the big flower embellishments out of the little pack, and I'm sticking that down in the bottom left hand corner of the frame, just lining that up there. And then the Moments die cut I'm adding so it sort of goes across the frame onto the card. And then I decided that I wanted to add another little sentiment to it, and in the set you've got one that's says 1,000,000, so I thought that would be quite nice to say 1,000,000 moments. You know, I'm not sure what I'd give it for, but I just thought the sentiment was quite nice. So I've popped that there in the top of the frame, added a little butterfly, and then I'm just adding a few of the tiny little puffy flower stickers, sort of dotting around the edge, and then I'm just finishing off with a couple of pink gems, again just dotted around, and that's my third card. So for my fourth card, again, it's the same measurements for the backing papers. So I'm cutting it to 9.5 by 13.5, and I've chosen the sort of pink ombre effect paper this time. And then I've decided I wanted to put a panel of the floral down the middle, so I think that's about 7 centimetres wide. It's just what's left over from the previous card, and then I've cut that down to 13.5 centimetres tall. Then I've taken sort of the darker turquoise pearlescent card, and I'm cutting that so it's 10 by 14. And just sticking all those together. And then to cover the joins where I've put the paper on the top, I'm adding some of those peel off stickers down the edges again, and it just finishes it off quite nicely actually. So just adding those on there and then trimming them to size. So I've taken my die cutting machine, and again I'm going to cut a circle from white card and a thanks from black card, and this time I've only cut one. So I'm sticking that panel onto the front of a cream card, because by this point I'd decided I only really wanted to use the white and cream cards. I didn't quite like the look of the coloured cards, so I haven't ended up using those. So I've taken the beautiful sort of foil effect butterfly from the pack and putting that in the circle, and then I've put the thanks at the bottom, and I've decided to take a little another little sentiment from out the stamp set, and this one says, I think it's a note of, okay, excuse my head getting in the way again there. So I'm just adding the circle on with some foam pads and popping the butterfly, just sticking the centre down so that the wings sort of sit up a little bit, and just adding the glue onto the back of that thanks. Again, I'm just using the tip of my pokey tool, put the glue on a bit of spare card so it wasn't too thick and gloopy, and I'm just adding that there down the bottom. And then just a little puffy sticker in the top corner, just deciding there where I wanted to put it, and a tiny little flower at the bottom of the thanks. And again, just got a couple of little green sort of pearls, and I'm just dotting those around, and then a couple of little clear sparkle gems, and that's my fourth card. So for my fifth card, I've taken a 6x6 card blank, and I've trimmed that down to 12 centimetres wide with the fold at the top. Then I've taken the rest of the pink pearlescent card, and I'm cutting that down so that it is 11.5 centimetres wide by 14.5 centimetres tall. I've then taken the sort of mint star paper, and I'm going to cut that down so that it is 11 wide by 14 tall. And then I've taken the sort of the doodled border paper, just deciding which way round I wanted that then. And then I've cut that so it's 8.5 centimetres wide by 13.5 centimetres tall. So just using my glue, and I'm sticking that together. And then what I'd realised is when I put that on, I'd actually wanted it to be the same as the mint paper. So knowing that I'm going to cover it up, I've just very carefully cut it open, and then just spaced that out so I've got the space where I know that it's going to be covered. And then I'm taking those peel-offs again, those lovely copper peel-offs, and I'm just placing those down either side of the paper where the join is. And then I'm sticking that panel onto my card blank. So I've taken the big pink tag out of the pack, and I'm sticking some of the turquoise geometric paper on there, and then I've got a slither of the floral pattern paper left, so I'm sticking that across the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to take those copper peel offs, and I'm going to put those across where the joins are. Just to add a bit more sort of bling to the card and make it look a bit more finished. And then I've just taken a selection of the die cuts and just sort of layering those up there, deciding where I wanted them. Then I've got some sort of sparkly turquoise ribbon, and I'm just threading that through the hole in the top of the tag, cutting that to size. And then I've taken one of the tags out of the pack, and again, because I'm not going to see it, I've cut it in half, and that's going to cover that join, so just in case the tag doesn't quite cover it, you won't see it. So I added some foam pads onto the back of that tag there, popping that on sort of like a jaunty angle onto the card, and then I'm just layering up all the die cuts here. Some I've stuck down with tape, some I've stuck down with foam, just to give dimension and things to it, just deciding where I want things. Then I've taken a couple of the puffy stickers, so I've added a butterfly to the bottom corner of the frame, and then a little heart at the bottom of the card. And then I'm taking the sentiment stamps. So I wanted to stamp a little sentiment, but my video decided to cut out here, so unfortunately I've only got the end card to show you. So I stamped friend and you rock onto a bit of white card, stuck those on with some foam pads, and then just added a few of the little puffy flowers around the edge of the cards. And that's my 5th card. So thanks for joining me today. Hope you've enjoyed my video. If you did, give me a like and a subscribe. That would be absolutely fantastic. If you'd like more inspiration using the Crafty Ola kit, check out the links below for links to our Facebook page and group and Instagram, where you'll find lots more ideas from the rest of the DT. Thank you. Bye.